Hi everyone, good afternoon from Vienna. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Making It in Austria. I'm your host. My name is Adela Janic, and this is the 51st episode of Making It in Austria. And I have a great pleasure to welcome Désirée Jonek, from Managing Partner, Founder, Chairwoman from WoMentor. Welcome.
Thank you, Adela. Thank you for having me tonight. I am excited.
I am excited too, and I hope that our listeners, viewers can feel the energy. So I've been your fan for quite some time. So I've been following
Oh,
your I've been following your work, specifically on LinkedIn, specifically about the topics mentoring, as I'm as well a big fan of it, and has accelerated my career and opened doors to opportunities that I haven't been aware of it and never thought about it. So very much fond of your work. So let's start with a short your introduction from your side. So who's Daisy?
thank you so much, Adela. So such kind words. This is very heartwarming. I've also been following your profile on LinkedIn, and it's also very impressive how like you stand for networking and obviously making it in Austria. I had this connection right away when you asked me for this interview. Yeah. So who's Desi? I'm in Austria since I've been in Austria for a little bit more than it's going to be 4 years this autumn, I think. Yeah. And I came here because of my job, actually. I was working for Willhaben, which is pretty well known, I think, in Austria.
Yes.
And I was working for the group, actually, and the group is a Norwegian one. Yeah. And then so it was the job who led me here. And then in the end, well, it was love and my business, of course, that made me stay. So it was both, not just love, but also yeah. And so WoMentor, exactly, this is the mentoring platform that we've founded now like about 2 years ago, a bit more than 2 years ago. And the idea behind it is that, of course, I also agree with you that mentoring and networking is a huge career accelerator. And I was actually extremely passionate about the topic of gender equality. Or let's say I have had the unfortunate situations where I was working in meetings on like auto car strategy, and there was a meeting involved with 10 people in total, and I was one of these participants in the task force, and the other 9 were actually white men in their, I don't know, 40s. So that was, yeah, not such a nice feeling back in the days, about 3 years ago now. And at some point they decided that the team needed to grow. And then what happened was that each of these men invited another man to join the team. And that was, I was like looking at them like, what's happening? Like, don't you see the imbalance in the room? And yeah, it was pretty unfortunate. No, they did not see it. So that was really one of the key moments in my career where I realized, okay, if I don't say something right now, then no one is going to notice it, and nothing is going to change, and no one will bring in the amazing women in this team that we had in our company. They were just not really invited for some reason. Yeah, so this is how I brought women to the team, and the men were actually really grateful for making them aware of the situation. And then that was the moment when the idea for WoMentor was born, kind of. So we decided to start this mentoring platform. So it really started with a mentoring idea, and to have people join as mentors and mentees. To really, especially actually focused on women, to help them grow their network, grow their businesses, making career decisions. And often it's about having the right contacts, right? So if you know someone, it's always easy to be pulled up, or to get the job hints. Or so the network is really, really important, especially for women, and the careers of women. So we wanted to make this possible with a mentoring platform, and this is then how we started. And since then had a huge success. So I'm super proud and happy that we have so many amazing people who want to join as mentors, both women and men. More women though, but we've never wanted to exclude men, kind of. So we've never planned to be in purely female network, because we always thought, yeah, gender equality and reaching gender equality is something that we're only going to be able to do together. So we always wanted to welcome men in our network. But I think the idea of empowering women is something that obviously is very appealing to women, because they know the problems, they've had the difficult situations, so they really feel like, yeah, I really want to participate and give back. And yeah.
That's a cool story. I absolutely agree with you and recognize a couple of examples from my career as well. And what I realized from, interviewing 50 people before you, it's one of the things is there was someone who pointed out that some things are not right. When I was working in the corporate, my first job, it was very global, very exciting, very fast. It was a corporate startup. So we were, growing as hell. And, I wasn't paying attention to that. I wasn't paying instead of paying attention that I'm the only woman, and I'm coming from Bosnia, so it's a very I had over like 50% of women studying as well electrical engineering, just like men, and being successful just like men. So I started noticing those things when I came here to Austria, and then I got a job, and then I was very much focused on my career, and it was a very exciting period of time. And then when my colleague Samana, who lives in Göteborg, she joined the team, and she started talking about these topics like the only woman in the room, and talking about the conferences that exist outside, and she opened basically the world to me that was there, but I wasn't aware of it. I was just like very much in my own bubble. And yourself, when you come to a new country, there's so much that you have to pick it up from language, from network, and I was just focusing very much on that. There's always someone who opened the door to opportunities, be it a mentor officially or someone basically from your community. And the second point that you said yourself is just comes in every interview, is that someone else handed their CV in front of it and they got a job. So they were like looking for a job. They have amazing qualification. Some of them studied here, did an MBA here. They have amazing work experience working in multinational corporations. But applying, just sending their CVs on and on and on, didn't brought there wasn't a success, or very little. But there was one person who would send in their CV in that company, and they were next day they were asked for a job interview.
Yeah, this sounds familiar. I'm not sure. Yeah, this is kind of apparently this is kind of human at the one side, but on the other hand, it shouldn't. I don't know. I think it shouldn't be like this, right? It should be like it's kind of qualifications that matter, and but still there are also, when it comes to gender inequality, of course, a lot of psychological and sociological effects where you are biased because maybe you don't know, maybe this person is not so similar to what you know, so you don't really have a reference point to it because you don't know the universities, it's not from your hometown.
So there's always yourself when you're looking for new people when I was looking for new people, it was always who is in your network, who do you know already, who you work with, who has shown great results, and so on. So it's as you said, it's not right, but I say always it's good to know the rules of game. If you want to go, it's not right, but the only way you can make it right is by pointing it out and trying to make it right for the next that are coming or that are around you. I would like to go back to WoMentor, and then if you can tell our listeners, how does it work? So if I want to be a mentor, if I want to be a mentee, so tell us a little bit the whole program, so everybody's excited to hear that part.
Yeah, of course. So basically you can join, whoever wants to join WoMentor can apply either as a mentor, as a mentee. And we don't even have specific age requirements because we think it doesn't really depend, the age is not really a determining factor for how much experience you have, professional experience. You could be a very young founder, for example, and then there's an older person, much older person who has decided that she wants to, change her career and leave the corporate side and become a founder. So the young founder might be her mentor, right? Even if she's younger. So the age is not really a determining factor. And we really have in the WoMentor community, we have women who are employed. We have women who are looking to found, so kind of future founders. We have women who are already entrepreneurs or self-employed. So it's very mixed. Also in terms of industry, it's extremely mixed, and they're all united by the desire to grow personally and professionally. And you can do that via mentorship. So how it works is we have yeah, within the last years, we have developed our program. So now we have a matching algorithm that I'm really proud of, and it makes things also easier for us. So you really take where are the skills, where you want to develop, what you want to learn, your background, where your mentor should be from which industry, which background. You can also make some preferences regarding the personality, like if you prefer your mentor to be rather extrovert or introvert, more hands-on or analytic. So you can kind of, make yourself reflect and also submit your motivation, and then you get matched. Our matching algorithm makes suggestions for us and the team, and then we check it out, and we do interviews with the mentors, and then we see where we think it's the best fit. And then this is how the matchmaking happens. And then we've developed together with my business partner, Lisa Kökler, who is a purpose coach. She has developed a fantastic mentoring program. So it's difficult because we bring two people together, and then the biggest challenge is we are not part of the relationship, unfortunately, right? We can't. It's a bit too much also. So we're not involved in the mentoring relationship, but what we want to do is we offer a big supporting program. So you get, as a mentor, you get content, even like almost systemic coaching approaches, like what actually makes a good mentor. How do you ask good questions? What matters? What should you do? What is good? What is really recommended? We have a lot of content for our mentors to develop themselves. Then we have events and where you can meet the other mentors and mentees, where you can pass on your challenges as a mentee also to other mentors in a kind of speed mentoring format. And also a lot of content to really make you reflect. So it's also kind of, it's like a personal development program also, with a lot of reflections and homework that you should do to prepare your mentoring sessions, and kind of, what kind of questions you want to prepare. Like everything, it doesn't come, change and personal development doesn't come from nothing, right? It's also a little work involved. Absolutely. But it has beautiful results, I think.
And how long does it take, Daisy? How long is it like 6 months?
For 1 year. It's a 1-year program. It's 1 year.
1 year program. That's awesome. That's really cool. And I got to know, through the other organization, the whole mentoring. And one of the reasons for me to join, I had a mentor in the company. It was a man, so one of my bosses, and we had a really great relationship, and still have. So it's like, this mentoring goes like on and on as a friendship. Nice. And I was at that point, I was looking specifically for a woman mentor. So because I said I'm working already in a male-dominated culture in the tech industry, and I felt personally I want a woman mentor, and that's why I was looking specifically. And through that application as well, that application was pretty exciting for me as well, because I was at some cross point in my career, and I wasn't really sure where I want to go. And that was my application. I wrote a lot about it, and I was happy that I was matched with a really cool mentor herself. And after 6 months, it was 9 months, not longer. It was a beautiful results, as you said. It's something that you have to, like to say, you have to go in, you have to get yourself into that. Lots of homework, but as well, like beautiful results that you can, you have for your whole life.
Absolutely. And also to reflect yourself, what is it that I want to reach, kind of what kind of expectations do I have? I mean, we've set this all out in our program, but really to reflect yourself, what do I actually want to reach? What are my goals? Where am I standing at? What are my expectations? What would I share? What would I not share? And what kind of results do you really want to see at the end? Maybe trying to make it kind of measurable. I mean, it's difficult, but also like, how do you want to grow your network? Or is it about a new job? What kind of output do you want to have in the end?
Definitely. So it's not just, having meetings like for an hour or two, but it's definitely about, a concrete goal that you have to set at the end of, so that you have something
exactly
to look forward. Daisy, so I usually ask my guests, so what were the challenges that they have faced? And for some of them, it was the language, of course, coming from Iran, or coming from Romania, or for me, coming from Bosnia. The language was, of course, one of the, big chunk of, the challenges. The next one usually was, having a job, finding that job. Some of them came here, for love. We have many who came here because of love, and then they came here, settled, and look for a job. I hear you had, the language, you came here with the job. And so what were your specific challenges and struggles that you faced at the beginning?
Yeah. So the language, I was lucky because I'm German. So the language, I mean, besides, the Austrian does differ
Yes.
from German. So it was a little challenge, but no, I can't really, I'm not gonna name this as my major challenge. So I was lucky I spoke the language. I think for me, actually, the biggest challenge was the network, I'd say, because I also had one friend or one or two people that I knew here in Vienna, one good friend that was very nice. And then I was also lucky that I had the job already, so I was introduced to a kind of network. But to be honest, also it's not, I've been living in living and working and studying in 5 different countries so far. And I think like overall was always the network was always the biggest challenge, because you come somewhere to a place and then people have their networks already, right? They have their friendships, they have their families, it's all set. And depending on the cultures, it's more or less closed and easier to enter, the kind of, and establish new friendships and grow your network. And it's always about passions, right? You have to be patient. I was so impatient. It's like, oh, I want to meet new people, and then I want to, have like days or meet people, and then they would give me time suggestions for like in 2 months, and I'm like, what? 2 months? So yeah, that was a little bit. You have to be patient about it. And I also realized, since I was actually working full time. And then at some point I quit because I knew that I wanted to do something else. So I quit my job without knowing what I was going to do next. I kind of had the idea for WoMentor in my back head, but it was not really concrete plans yet. However, I realized that, wow, I actually only knew people at work, people from the office, but I had like a lot more. I had very specific interests specific interests. So I was very interested in feminism. I was interested in social entrepreneurship, and I really had the feeling of wanting to give back. So I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? And then I think I really started with like a real like desk research on what kind of networks and communities existed in Austria, what I found was interesting. So I really joined a lot of different associations. Like I went to network communities like the sorority. You probably know them, one of the biggest feminist networks, I'd say, to meet like-minded people. I went to a social entrepreneurship forum, which is like an association for that, specifically focused on social business. I also helped out at the integrations house to become a mentor. So helped someone to do like their homework and stuff like that. So I really tried very specifically to identify, okay, where do I want to bring myself in, and soaked in all the knowledge and also try to make a lot of new connections and contacts. So I think growing the network was really something where I started to be very focused on, and very had my strategies.
One of the questions that I get on mostly LinkedIn and through my network as well is like, which network to choose? It's like $1 million question. So people come to me and say like, where should I go next? I want to build my network. Where should I go next? And then, I did a very similar thing as you did. So I joined much associations through as well mentoring program, but visiting specific events related to my branch, like in tech, digital transformation, Internet of Things. So I was as well like you, trying new things out, just really going out and exploring, not like saying, and if my colleague that I trust would say, yeah, let's go to this event because you should meet this and this person, I would go to that. I would go to so many places. And then at some point I like, okay, no, I don't want to go back there. I want to go here and there and so on. And and at some point starting my own networks and etc. So what would be your advice? I see it that you followed you knew about business, about social, about your passion and so on. That's where you followed. So that would be one of my advices as well.
Yeah, of course it can be about the interest, and of course it can be very systematic also in terms of industry. I think it depends if you want to broaden your network on a professional or maybe on a personal level, but ideally I think it goes kind of hand in hand, right? Because I hope that you'd work on something that you're also personally interested in the ideal world, so it probably goes hand in hand. But yeah, you can be very systematic about it and joining specific networks that are targeting your like events about as you were in technology, or like Um, if it's about founding, then to go to those networks who would offer events for that. And yeah, I think my recommendation would be to follow your personal interest, but because you want to feel, interested by the event and the content. This is one thing. And then I think the second thing is you'll notice that yourself, I think, where you feel comfortable, right? We tend to surround ourselves, obviously, and especially with networking, we want to feel comfortable. So I don't think I would go back to a meeting where I didn't feel comfortable or welcome, or I was like, it was not quite my vibe or not my topics. I don't know, not my, I think you feel where you know very well where you feel comfortable and where you want to return. So there's plenty of networks, but in the end, I think you have to try and then decide on your own where are the topics and the people where you want to return, where you want to mingle and network, where do you feel comfortable in the end, because it shouldn't feel exhausting. I mean, it kind of feels exhausting, I know, sometimes.
It's investment. It's definitely your time, your resources. Absolutely.
Yeah. And especially for rather introvert people, I think that networking is rather exhausting. So it should at least feel comfortable and feel nice. And then we all have our personal preferences, I think.
I want to ask you, so how was that feeling? You quit your job, so you had a stable, successful career, you quit your job and you decide to go on a venture to start your own business.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to share one or two insights about that. Probably there's some people who are thinking about it.
Yeah. I'm actually very glad that I did it, because to be honest, in my career, I was always very ambitious. So I had like every phase after the next, every phase was already planned out after I had finished one phase, right? Like I knew after my studies, I already had the internship or I already had the job, or, so I always had a plan. So for me, it was very, and then I realized wow, how do I know if I actually like what I do, or if it's the right thing for me, if I never stop and if I don't take time to reflect. So I felt it was the right choice for me to kind of being in that moment and seeing what I want to do, what I want to work with, how I want to continue, where I want to focus, and put my energy. Also actually to really ask myself that question. And that was scary. It was not always easy. I had, like, for example, I had back pain, which I never have usually. So for me, I mean, I believe in the mind-body connection. So at some point, I also went to the physiotherapist, but then at some point I realized, okay, it can't be this. It's actually in my head, because I'm scared, because I don't know what I'm doing. So it was not easy, and I was not always super convinced and super confident, not at all. I was like, what the heck are you doing? There was always this little, monkey shouting this at me, where exactly those two, like, two monkeys kind of. Yeah, so that was not always easy, but it felt like I had to do it. And then it gave me the time and energy to focus on, I had job interviews, I met different organizations and people, and then it gave me kind of, I could steer, okay, this yes, this not, this yes, this not. So I tried out and I learned. Yeah, and then I had time to work on my business idea, to work on WoMentor, and participated in a hackathon, Women in Code. So, also project with a lot of women, and that was like, yes, people loved it. We won this hackathon, and then it kind of got started by really winning other people over for this idea, because they were, this is cool. So people joined, and then it became kind of more real. Yeah. And then once I had people on board, I always continued working on it, I think. But yeah, it wasn't always easy. And then I didn't become self-employed with WoMentor right away, because at some point I realized, okay, I actually just kind of want to do it, but I don't want to be so pressured. So I don't see a way how to make a business out of it, and don't really see. I also wasn't sure if I wanted this to be a business or if I just wanted it to be a side project. Yeah. And this is why I decided to work part-time and keep working on it and see what was going to happen. So this is then how I continued. And then it was only this, actually in the beginning of this year, that I became 100% self-employed with it, and together with my business partner. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So it's super important to realize all these steps that need to happen in between, and how you overcome them. Yeah. I must ask, it's not in the script, but I must ask, if you could choose any person in the world to be your mentor, who would that be?
Ooh, wow. You should have sent me that question beforehand.
Surprise, surprise.
I mean, it's a good question.
But
I have so many
anyone.
so many different people that I'm inspired from. I think one woman that particularly inspired me, her name is Dame Stephanie Shirley. She was actually super early tech founder, if you want to say so. Also, like after the Second World War, I think she made it possible for women. She was kind of started a development agency, if you want so. So she made women work from home and doing like codes, and then she sold that to companies, and it was very, very inspiring what she has achieved. So one of the first development agencies, and working remote with women, even also part-time, so very, very advanced for the 1950s. And she's still active. She has different foundations, and so she's a very inspiring woman. So I think that I could learn from her, I guess.
And do you have someone that you would like to be a mentor yourself?
Someone that I'd like to be a mentor for? That is also a very good question. I mean, I do pass on a lot of my knowledge, right? I mean, I'm a business coach, so I do coachings, and here I'm especially fond of young female founders, so women who have ideas or who want to be founders. I really like that, to empower them and to pass on my knowledge and my learnings, also from consulting. So I love to do that, right? Empowering women obviously is at the heart of what I love to do. So this is, I think, the target group that's where I mostly want to empower. But I try to use my time. I mean, I have coaching, so I give one-on-one coachings, but especially for founders, we're going to have a founders group start soon with WoMentor. So I try to, have always a little bit bigger impact than one-on-one, so that I can help or empower multiple people at the same time if possible, because I have to, right?
You're only
allocate my time resources. I'm only one, exactly. So I feel like this is how I can have even bigger impact.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. I really loved it, and I love your energy and someone that talks. I met finally you as a person who talks fast as I do. I usually talk very, very fast, and people like, wait. And I was like, okay, I have a counterpart on the other hand. So really cool. I'm a big, big fan. Before we wrap up, I usually ask people, so what do they read and what they would like to recommend, or if there's anything else that's left untold and that you would like to say for people who are considering to move to Austria, because this was at the beginning meant for people moving, wanting to come to Austria, start their career here. But I see with the time, it's inspiring for everyone. So it's like your stories are applicable to anyone in the world. So if there's anything left to say, so please go ahead.
Yeah, I think that you asked me for what are my 3 key messages or advices that I want to share. I think one thing is really screw perfect. Just do it, and this is applicable to whether you want to send that job application, whether you want to start this business or this project. Really just do it. And many people also in my coachings, I see that many people are so afraid of like, oh, I need to have this super idea and it needs to be perfect and it needs to be wow what I'm doing. But I think it's the baby steps that count. And actually doing something is so much more powerful than wanting to do something. So I really want to encourage people to lower their perfectionism towards themselves, and to instead just try doing it. And even if it's nasty in the beginning, you can still make it nicer later. So this is one of my biggest learnings, I think. And also, I think you asked for book recommendations. I was very much inspired by Brené Brown, who's written different books, and one is Dare to Lead, or what's it called, the other one, I'm reading it in German, about vulnerability. I'm actually, I don't know the title in English, but it's about vulnerability. So if you Google that, I'm sure
Yep.
you're gonna find it. I'm reading it
Yep.
in German.
Mm.
This very inspiring about how to be more innovative, how to have a better culture if it's in companies or personally. We can gain so much more if we make ourselves more vulnerable. And yeah, I think that is a very good advice to follow. For me, I try to implement it. I'm still very perfectionist sometimes, but I try to overcome it.
Uh, Thank you, Daisy. Thank you so much. I love it. I wrote it down, screw perfectly. For
Yeah.
me, motherhood, now that I became a mom for the very first time, it resolved me of perfectionism, and it's really it's a beautiful journey that where you know that you have this 1 hour or like half an hour, 15
Mm.
minutes that you have to do whatever you wanted to do, whatever is, give a call, do this and that. And I see time very much differently, and I feel very much, I feel more alive and I feel more ready to try other things. So for me, it, as I said, there's everyone that you meet is obsessed with this being perfect and
Yeah.
trying things perfectly, and what if it doesn't, because in our mind we already kind of go through these steps. It's not going to work if I don't do that. It's always
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
going to work.
Mm.
And and we are obsessed with that. It's the world that we live in, obsessed with being perfect, and everything is like with filters and so on. And I really enjoy this new role, and I really take all in with doing just what I love and what I enjoy, and doing it the way it can be done with the resources that you have, because that's life. It's never gonna be that I have
Never gonna be
hours,
perfect.
yes,
No.
hours and
Yeah.
days and months
Yeah.
and the resources and whatever. So it's like
Yeah.
just a dream that you need to find somewhere along the way, and at the beginning it's just you and your laptop, more or less.
Exactly. Yeah. That's totally right. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better. Agreed.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you so much for joining us, being our guest, and sharing your insights. I really
Thank
look
you, Adela.
forward to meet you at one of the other, at the monthly gatherings that we have for the Making It in Austria community.
Cool.
So it's on a monthly basis. I will send you the invite. And if
Yes.
anyone who's watching this would like to join us, so please write me a LinkedIn, send me a message. Where I'm looking forward. It's in August, 12th of August. So after work, and then will be September and all the months coming. So because there's so much that we can win at those gatherings, and just have lots and lots of fun. So thank you for tuning. Thank you for sharing, commenting. I'm really looking forward to read all the comments that you have. And if you have any guests that you would like to see on this YouTube channel, just drop me a message and I will take it from there. Enjoy the evening and take care.